We shall say nick again to you if you do not appease us.
Well, what is it you want?
We want a
FOMO Show.
A what? Please, no more. We will find you a
FOMO Show.
You must return here with a
FOMO Show.
or else you will never pass through this wood alive. Now, go!
Broadcasting from Brisbane, Australia, this is the FOMO Show.
Cryptocurrency for the rest of us. I'm Matt.
I'm Joe.
This is the podcast where you'll hear about cryptocurrency in plain English. If you're excited about cryptocurrency but you don't have time to read white papers or technical presentations, this is the podcast for you.
Yeah, none of that technical nonsense. We'll help you stay across the crazy world of crypto so you don't get the fear of missing out.
So today we've got a bunch of stuff on the show. We're going to discuss wallets, how to buy crypto, and also look at exchanges. We're going to check in with your tax investments, Joe, your tax portfolio. And we're also going to have a couple of special guests on the show this week. And then discuss a fair bit of news too. There's been a fair bit going on in the time we've been away.
So, yeah, let's jump into it. So this week, there's rumours of a digital currency growing out of Catalan in Spain. If you've been reading the news the last week, you would have heard about the crackdown on democracy in Catalonia. They declared independence the other week. There's a bit of controversy around that, but the news coming out of Altcoin today says that Danny Marco, the director of Smart Catalonia, which I'm guessing is related to their tourism industry somehow, or maybe their development somehow. He's travelled to Estonia on multiple occasions to see firsthand how Estonia's e-residency program has worked. So Estonia, if you haven't heard, run an e-residency program on the blockchain, and they've attracted more than 20,000 entrepreneurs from 140 different countries. And this e-residency program actually allows you access to government services in Estonia, and it's a really interesting idea. So, I mean, as of right now, there's no official timeline on or a roadmap associated with a coin coming out of Catalonia, but it's an interesting idea. And I mean, if you've seen how everyone of any importance in Catalonia has been fired in the last week, it's quite an interesting sort of rumour.
Yeah, mate, it's just fascinating that like a country that's essentially starting again, if they do actually break away and they do gain their independence, they're seriously entertaining starting a cryptocurrency as like the basis for that new order. And I think that's quite telling. It means that people in power, especially these real movers and shakers that are doing all this seceding, they're really considering crypto as a really good basis to build upon. I saw Vitalik Buterin of Ethereum. Right. He was out discussing this with a couple of different governments as well, and he's been involved in the Omis Go project, which is in Thailand. Right. There seems to be a real push by some of these crypto creators to get governments on board. We've discussed this before, that it may mean less freedom in the wrong kind of situation for some people, but I think in this specific situation, Catalan is seeing this as a way to detach themselves from the euro.
We'll jump onto some of that more fear, uncertainty and doubt in the whole, is crypto going to enslave us forever?
There was an article that came out in Altcoin today, and it basically discussed the similarities between where we are in 2017 and where the crypto markets were in 2013.
Right, and that was when there was this crash, wasn't it?
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, 2013 was the first year that crypto really took off. A whole bunch of people got into the space. There was a lot of excitement, a lot of build-up. The price shot way up, and then at the end of it, everything crashed. It all came tumbling down. There was the Mt. Gox issue, which was the largest exchange at the time. It crashed. It came to light that they'd been stealing a whole bunch of money. they had automated bots that were trading against everyone else and making a whole lot of money, and there was all this corruption and fraud, and that was enough to scuttle the whole process. And they say it's set crypto back by a number of years, and we're really only seeing that level of excitement this year in 2017 that they saw in 2013. And the premise of this article is essentially that the price of Bitcoin alone has increased by 500% in 2017, and there's a lot of the indicators that were around in 2013 and 2017. There's a lot of excitement, a lot of people just jumping in on pure speculation, not really knowing what the technology does, and there's a lot of people being told what to do, seeing gains, and thinking that this is normal.
So the takeout from this, 2013 had a big crash that sort of set everything back by a while. But so is this sort of suggesting that, you know, if crypto crashes this year, next year, it's going to take a long time to recover to the same sort of levels?
Yeah, I mean, this article doesn't go to that extent. They do kind of hedge their bets a little bit and say that this time it might be different. But we all know that history can repeat itself. And I think it's just good, as we're getting a little bit further on into 2017 and we've seen the big ICO euphoria happen and we've seen Bitcoin go up and up and up.
Yeah.
It's just good to remember that this may well be a bit too much too fast and that things could pull back. And so I think it's more just being careful about what you do, you know, and not investing more than you can afford to lose.
Do you think people should, you know, if people are looking at buying into Bitcoin or other, well, if people are looking to buy into Bitcoin, should they be holding a bit extra on the event that in the event that the price does drop, so they get a cheaper buy later on? Yeah,
I think you've always got to have a contingency. I think it's good to have in your own mind what you're going to do if the price drops quite significantly, because you can have your everyday, you know, we talk about dollar cost averaging, you can have your everyday amount of money that you spend weekly on crypto, but I would be hoping that that's not your whole savings. You're not pouring all your savings into this space because just because of the risk and how speculative things can be. What would be good to have is to put a bit of that money aside and say, if the market crashes, I'm going to be ready. And I'm going to be ready to invest in the parts of the market that I think are very valuable.
Yeah, because it's I saw a tweet, which I think I just retweeted today to the FOMO Show account, which was from, I think it was Neithercoin, who's saying something like, forget about the money, just follow the ideas, because the money's going to follow the good ideas. If you're looking at the good ideas in the crypto space, and ultimately Bitcoin is a good idea because not only was it the first, it's the, you know, best branded of the lot. So another little scare piece from one of the prepping sites out there. So, there is an article on shtfplan.com, which stands for excrement hitting the fan. And it's basically a little bit of a scare piece against cryptocurrency. And it's more aimed for those for that sort of prepper community where they're big on owning gold and silver and physical assets like that, which is, you know, a very good goal to have. Nothing wrong with that. An interesting critique of cryptocurrency, which we thought was worth sharing some of the key points. So the article was supposedly by, you know, some ex-Green Beret or something like that. But he's saying that the United States has been using the worthless fiat Federal Reserve note that isn't backed by any true tangible asset, the United States and by extension the world. The only backing is being, you know, the full faith and credit of the United States government and all this sort of stuff. But, following Russia's crypto ruble announcement, the author was saying that this is the calm before the storm. The governments are studying it and studying the masses to find the means to control it. And this is what you were talking about last week, Matt. The author goes on to say that once the cash is eliminated, hard assets such as gold, silver and other resources will be very simple to control. Where did you obtain that gold? How did you obtain it? And is it in our records? So the quote-unquote successful employment of cryptocurrency will mean that people have been completely duped and have handed over privacy into the control of the government. And once the governments control everyone economically, they will use that control to seize other aspects of daily life that aren't regulated. They'll know how much you make, where you work, and how much you have available. Or what you think you have available, because in the blink of an eye, they'll make your crypto dollars disappear. And if you have no recourse, just as they have no accountability, if politicians steal money now while cash still exists, think of how much they'll be able to steal when everything's done electronically. Cryptocurrency is a scam that will eventually lead to the final enslavement of the US. So that was your bit of fear and uncertainty for the week from one of these interesting outlets.
Yeah, and look, like everything, there's a bit of truth to what they say mixed in with a healthy serving of scaremongering. But look, they do make some valid points. I think our concern is that if central banks and governments are quick enough to get on the cryptocurrency ride, they may be able to wrest control from the decentralized system. I think what they're missing is that cryptocurrency as we know it right now is decentralized. So most of the cryptos that are out there now, except for the crypto ruble and Zimbabwe coin, is decentralized. It's not controlled by any one government. And the only way that a government could feasibly exert control over that is if they required you to, for example, turn over your public keys and say, we want to know what your public key addresses are, which you could elect to do or not to do. And then obviously they can ascertain when a lot of people join the ecosystem through things like Coinbase, if they're transferring fiat money into real money. But what they're talking about here is essentially controlled cryptocurrency, which is quite different.
Well, I think there was definitely part of that. And they're also talking about the idea that, every receipt being publicly available being sort of another element of control. And that was, that is an interesting point, being, every transaction you do make on the blockchain is verifiable. It's only, of course, tied to your wallet address, but is it going to be that hard for a government to tie all the US government need to do? Get access into Coinbase's systems, then they get user IDs, real names, and the wallets that they send their currencies to. And then it's just pretty much a guess that wallet they're sending currency to is probably theirs. Yeah,
and look, it may well be that when you do your tax as well, for example, you integrate your wallet addresses. So
that's going to be scary.
Which would be convenient.
I have nothing to worry about. No, nothing.
The idea that they can make your crypto dollars disappear, though, which they said at the end, I think that's a little bit far-fetched because it's a public ledger. Yeah. People would be able to see that. If it wasn't a public ledger, it would be very different to the kind of crypto we could see. So, look, while there's some good points in there, I think a lot of that comes down to more of a technical deficiency in their understanding than anything else. A bit like
it's more of a fiction into sort of a realistic fiction of where the world might be in 20 years.
These newfangled cryptocurrencies.
Bloody kids trying to get rid of their gold and gold-backed currencies. So Royal Mint Gold are going to use the Civic token/system platform for identity verification. So as a bit of background, the Royal Mint, which is the UK's, Her Majesty's Treasury, they're going to set up an RMG, a Royal Mint Gold product, which is going to be traded via the blockchain. So according to Reuters, the Royal Mint's going to put gold bars into its on-site secure vault, which will then be digitized in the blockchain to allow RMGs whose ownership will be recorded on the blockchain. So traders will then be able to trade in and out of RMGs between themselves.
Where have we heard this before, mate? Someone is going to take your gold and put it somewhere safe.
Very, very securely.
And then give you something for it.
But trust us, it's on the blockchain. But yeah, in some way, it's a really nice idea. Like, it's just on the faith that this is actually going to be in a secure vault. And, because, she's got a face printed on all these coins, it must be trustworthy. So, BitGo were selected earlier in the year to build the blockchain. And they've just selected Civic to carry out this scanning and verifying of documents, such as passports and utility bills provided by investors in these tokens to prove their identities and ensure compliance with anti-money laundering laws. So Civic is a platform, which I will mention now at the end as opposed to the beginning, which raised $33 million in an ICO earlier this year, I believe. And what their aim is it's their aim is to become the trusted third-party source for securing and verifying your identity. So, kind of complicated in a way, but I think the founder used to run some startup company, and then he just realized there was no sort of decentralized trust system for merchants. So they basically want to become like a future-focused credit monitoring service. So they're designed to sort of let you know if someone's trying to sign up to a service with your identity. But I have it's a very small thing at the moment, but it's interesting that they've been picked up for this, treasury gold thing.
Yeah, look, I mean, I actually used Civic to verify my identity when I participated in the 0x token sale, I think.
Right.
That's who it was. And it was quite easy. It was quite simple.
So what is it? You sign up?
You sign up on your mobile phone,
Right.
and then you need to just verify that your mobile phone number is what you say it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think you need to give them a name as well. But it all seemed pretty easy once I'd done it.
So with something like Civic, does that mean that the person that you're verifying with, so in this case is 0x, does that mean that they will never see your details,
Correct.
but they just see that you have verified them with Civic?
Yeah, it's essentially a trust system where whoever is contracting with Civic trusts that Civic is doing the right thing in verifying these identities. And the information that the actual company sees is very limited.
Right.
So
Data protection is safe and...
exactly. Yeah, so you still have to trust Civic. And that's the risk, is you get another agency that holds all your private details, and then you just need to know that they're not going to start selling that to data brokers and other third parties.
And Civic does this all via the blockchain, or via a blockchain. So, and it's a tradable token as well.
Yeah, it's a tradable token. I can't remember exactly where the token fits into everything.
Right.
But it's a blockchain that's accessible from your mobile phone.
Right.
And all the details are there, hashed, encrypted on the blockchain.
It's an interesting one to watch. So Civic is out there. It's not one of the top tokens, but it's certainly worth taking a look at if this is an area in the market that you think is sort of underserved. The sort of credit reporting, identity, sort of managing who you are and verifying that without having to. I guess it would save the people who want to use it a lot of time, because usually you'd have to receive passport details and things like that and scan it and do certain checks, but this does it for you.
Correct.
Great idea.
So we saw another bit of news come out, and this was through Bloomberg, and it was essentially saying that months after their token sales, more than 90% of ICOs still lack use cases. And the article said, of the 226 ICOs analysed by Token Report, only 20, such as Storage, Augur and 10x, are used in the running of their networks, according to Token Report, which keeps a database of token sales information. The rest can only be traded and are purely speculative instruments, Galen Moore, Chief Executive Officer of Token Report, said in an interview. So what we have here is essentially we're a few months on from this ICO mania, where huge amounts of money flowed into all sorts of ICOs with all sorts of promises, and yet less than 10% of those ICOs are actually using their token in any meaningful way whatsoever other than a tradable asset.
So it seems like the rest of them, they're just sort of a regular business. They just did ICO because ICO was an ICO.
Yeah, and a lot of them, there's not even really any evidence that they're building anything or using anything. There's some of them have updates coming out, and there's some I follow that are very much doing things, and you can see that very clearly. But a lot of others, it's just kind of, it's all behind closed doors. The biggest one, obviously, is the Tezos ICO, which we saw this week or last week. It came out that the two founding parties are fighting over how the money's meant to be being used and what they're meant to be doing, and they raised $250 million. So they've taken on $250 million of people's money.
That's ridiculous.
It was unreal. It was right at that really big hype point, and they've got nothing to show for it. They've made some promises. It's really worrying watching this trend where companies are saying we've got a great idea, and they're launching an ICO at that point. It used to be, even with Kickstarter and a bunch of other crowd funds, it used to be they'd say, we've worked for 12 months, we've got a working alpha or beta, here it is, you can go play with it. We now need more money to keep it going. And that's what some of the projects have done as well, and the ones that are really succeeding, they're the guys that have actually laid the groundwork and then said, okay, now we're ready to take on money.
But the problem is the other 90% who are sort of adding that. So it's like renaming whatever your company was, adding a .com at the end.
Yep.
Back in 99, didn't matter which company you did, add a .com and suddenly you're worth a bunch more. And it's those people, those 90%, which is sort of letting down those 10% of real sort of diamonds in the rough.
Yeah, and look, if it does happen that we're in a bubble and that bubble bursts, it's going to be laid at the feet of these, 90% of ICOs and the people that invested in them. And so that's why we always say, do your due diligence, do your research, look at these projects and work out whether they're actually doing something, whether their team's real, or whether they're just trying to take your money.
And just as a slight random almost off-topic piece of news, there's Kazakhstan is set to switch their alphabet from Cyrillic to Latin. So from briefly, Kazakhstan, the Kazakh language briefly used the Latin script in 1940, or before switching to the Cyrillic in 1940, and before 1929 they'd been using Arabic, but now they're looking to change from Cyrillic to Latin as part of the modernization and development effort. So because 70% of the world's countries use Latin-based alphabets, it's a really interesting move into integration and sort of stepping away from distancing themselves from their sort of Russian heritage and sort of trying to promote more. Supposedly promoting more nationalism, according to Deutsche Welle. But yeah, it's a really interesting idea. I think they're looking to get that finished by 2025. New keyboards, new everything that needs to be sorted out. But it's a really interesting idea, and it feeds into sort of our idea. We want to be looking towards emerging markets in future episodes. We're going to start talking about some of the countries that are really growing but haven't really been talked about. So... yeah, that's an interesting one that Kazakhstan's doing there.
Yeah, no, it is, mate. And Kazakhstan's a little diamond in the rough. That whole area, actually, there's a lot of development going on there, a lot of cool stuff going on there, and I wouldn't be surprised to see some crypto projects coming out from that area too. So, yeah, stick a pin in it, keep an eye on it. So we've had a lot of people contact us to be on the show, but we try and keep the personalities and offerings as unique as possible. When Dan contacted us and gave his individual job description, we couldn't really refuse him a semi-regular spot on the show.
So Dan is an ICO trader. He's carved out a little time very kindly to let us give him a call and chat about the current state of the markets. So we're going to give Dan a call and see what he's up to.
Joe, glad you called. Things are off the charts here in the ICO world. Off the charts.
Off the charts, Dan?
Joe, we are seeing green across the board with ICOs right now, Joe. It's pandemonium here on the crypto floor. We've got buys coming in from everywhere. Left, right, center. Everyone wants a piece of this hot property, Joe. Hot crypto property. That's right, Joe. Hot crypto cakes cooked up right here on the blockchain. We're revolutionizing, iterating, and encrypting all in one, Joe.
Wow, what specifically are people buying right now then?
So many ICOs, Joes. We've got Tezos. They've been dead in the ditch this last week, but the futures are exploding again. We've got Datum, the new oil. People love oil, Joe, especially crypto oil. We've got 0x, 2x. Couldn't get enough with 0x, Joe? Well, 2x of 0x, that with 0x, 2x. It's a win-win-win, Joe. Some people say it's a scam. I say scared money don't make none, Joe.
Do you have any hot scoops for us on potential upcoming projects, Dan?
Well, I used to be involved in energy trading back in the day with my friends at the California grid. So they've told me that Enron may be making a comeback. Yes, Joe, you heard that right. Enron coming back with an energy ICO. I'll have more on this soon, Joe.
So it's a pretty busy time for ICOs, Dan.
Pretty busy? Feel this phone, Joe. It's stoking hot. I haven't put it down for 4 hours. I don't know what the bill would be. I don't care. These ICOs are liquid gold. Liquid gold flowing through the sweet subterranean landscapes of the blockchain underbelly, Joe. Hang on a second. No, I said 500,000. 500,000 great coin, 300,000 waffle coin. Sorry, Joe, I'm back. What do you want to know?
Do you have any recommendations this week for the armchair punters, Dan?
Apart from putting everything they have in these certificate tokens, Joe, look, I've heard a rumor that Blockbuster may be coming out with a video hire ICO. I've got exclusive rights to the pre-sale. For your lucky listeners, Joe, I'm offering exclusive futures in this coin at a 30% discount. 30%! The most pre-sale participants in the video hire ICO will get is 20% discount. This is a once-in-a-lifetime, never-to-be repeated offer, Joe. We're talking Blockbuster on a blockchain.
Wow. So, can you tell us what the purpose of this coin is?
Doesn't matter, don't care, Joe. There's money to be made. Hang on. No, I said sell, George, not buy. When that fake site story breaks, the price will plummet. Sell. Sorry, Joe, I gotta go. You know how it is. Video hire ICO. Get in.
Mate, you found out about some Bitcoin trade groups that might be manipulating markets.
Yeah,
this week,
that was
didn't you?
really weird. I was on an internet browse at 11 p.m. at night, and I stumbled across some website called Chain.group, and it basically shows you a bunch of Bitcoin trading groups. It's very difficult to tell if they're a scam or not, but it's a very scary idea. So essentially, you could join one of these groups, and you could just put in, $100. You've got to leave it there for half a year or something like that. But essentially, these trade groups take your money and every other investor's money, and they basically pull this money together to manipulate the market. So what they would do is they would put in a bunch of buy orders on just a random coin that they pick, put in a bunch of buy orders, and just wait for the market just to start pushing the prices up. So then as the prices get pushed up to unrealistic heights, then they'd use their trade bots just to initiate the sell just after the value peak has been hit. And according to one, which is called CloudShare, they've claimed to make an average of about 7.87% per provocation, as they call it, which is, it's an unregulated market. So these people are just doing what would be totally illegal on the stock exchange, for example, but they can just get away with it. And it's kind of scary that, some traders are probably buying something that's being provoked, selling in the same day, thinking that they're a genius trader, when really it's just some other group behind the scenes manipulating the currencies.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it a bit later when we talk about exchanges. But it just highlights the need to be really careful when you get into this stuff, because there's guys that have been doing this for years and years and years. They know these markets inside and out, and they do not have your best interest at heart at all. And if you go in unprepared and you go in just reacting on emotions and what you're seeing the market doing, which a lot of people do, they see the market going up, and it's that fear of missing out, mate. They buy in and then they get left, holding the bags when it all crashes.
There's that phrase from American traders going to parties and stuff like that. If you can't spot the sucker in the room, it's you.
Yeah.
So yeah, be careful.
So, mate, you found a pretty cool tool this week.
So this website is called Coingecko, and it helps you find useful currencies to invest in based on an interesting scoring index. So in their own words, you can find it at coingecko.com. And in their own words, Coingecko lists the world's top cryptocurrencies and ranks them based on key aspects such as developer activity, community, liquidity, market capitalization, and public interest. So what you can do when you go to the Coingecko site,
it's a really cool looking site, isn't it?
It's pretty slick, and it's simple and it's pretty effective. So they've got pages and pages of all of these different coins. But what you can do is you can select the type of coin, the hashing algorithm. So you could look at just coins that need to be that are proof of stake, for example, where you'd keep your wallet open and accessible to the network to keep transactions going. And you can just make some filters to get the right sort of coins you want to look at, and it will show you how much activity the developers have made on adding code to repositories in the last week. They'll show you sort of how much the community has been talking about it, how much community interest there is, whether there's much public interest, whether it's appearing, whether it's got loads of search results in Bing and Alexa, and sort of a total index of all of them. And it's really quite interesting. So it can help you spot some sort of factors that suggest that some coins might be better than others. What are your thoughts on a tool like that?
Yeah, man, it really intrigues me. Part of our investment strategy, for those of you guys that don't know, is we like to look at the coins that have lower market caps but have like a good team, some good development going on, and maybe some use cases that haven't really been fully realized. And what this lets you do is add a whole bunch of different filters to essentially filter away a lot of the noise and create a shortlist. And you can add a whole bunch of different variables to it to create this, whatever shortlists you want, and then you can save those shortlists so you can look at them later. And it's just, it gives you access to a lot of information that the mainstream sites don't have. So yeah, I really like it. If they keep improving it, I think it could be a really, really useful investment tool. And I just recommend, look, if you're thinking of investing in a coin, just go and look at it and see what else is in that area and do a bit of research around that.
And it's an interesting follow-up on on-chain FX that we were talking about last week, which is a really interesting tool with some cool little metrics. There are a lot of different sites around that do similar sort of things, but they've all got their own little twist. And I
mean, you could use it with use on-chain FX and Coingecko side by side, I think, because they both look at slightly different areas. But yeah, no, there's some great stuff out there, and hopefully they keep it up.
So you can find that at coingecko.com. The link is in the show notes.
How's your tax return going, Joe?
God, it's a pretty exciting time to be alive. So I got a tax return from the government who returned my very hard-worked cash to me. Must have been a bit of a misunderstanding, but yeah, they got it back. So yeah, I got
Don't tell anyone.
So I got some money back, and I decided I was going to sink it all into cryptocurrency just to watch it all disappear. And I've come up with a short list now of a bunch of different coins. But the one I was really excited about is called Monetha. It's a really interesting idea that has the potential for it to be a competitor to PayPal. And what Monetha is it's a payment gateway which lets merchants add a plugin to their e-commerce or online shops to accept crypto payments.
Right. So if I was to go on to like a decentralized marketplace and I wanted to buy something, instead of clicking buy with PayPal, I could click buy with Monetha.
Yeah. So this will let you purchase with any Ethereum-based token. Now, I think it's over 1,000 different tokens that are on Ethereum. I can't remember off the top of my head, but you'd be able to exchange any of those. You'd be able to pay with any of those when you're doing your online shopping. So they've built it so that they can sort of get any sort of online merchant to be able to integrate that with their site. They've got a minimum viable plugin for now, which is integrates a buy button with your website. So that, if you're running on WooCommerce or Magento, which are two of the biggest systems for e-commerce today, they're just trying to build the market first. So they're trying to get all the merchants on board. So right now they're just building that out. They've got a full e-commerce gateway early next year. Then they want a full e-commerce solution and an exchange to fiat in 2018 so that merchants can exchange their cryptocurrency directly to their bank accounts. Right now that's actually built in so that it can be done automatically via an exchange. But then they're looking to implement a trust system in early 2019. So not unlike eBay's points system where you get I think it's points for good ratings and things like that. So they're looking to build that in as well. And then they're looking for that to work fully in retail in 2019. But it's a very interesting idea.
Yeah. So essentially, if you've got Ethereum in a wallet somewhere, you would just have a Monetha account and you would just associate that wallet with your Monetha account. Is that how they're proposing it works?
I believe it's even easier than that. I believe you don't even need to have a Monetha account. It's literally just so that you can just pay with Ethereum to a certain wallet, and that will get to the merchant.
Right. Okay.
Basically, with the financial systems, it can take merchants up to 2 weeks to get their money for a transaction, whereas with a system like Monetha, it would be 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is, a massive step change. And that's really where crypto needs to come in. It needs to be much easier, and it needs to just blow the other solutions out of the water. So it's an interesting idea now, but, it could just be that PayPal just plugs $1 billion into investment and development, and they could just blow this out the water. But it's a great idea.
Right.
Monetha.
Are there any plans for it to be anything other than Ethereum, or is it just Ethereum for the foreseeable future?
Well, they have actually said that there are these big problems with Ethereum scaling now. There is supposedly an update that Ethereum's going to make to, reduce all of this sort of congestion on their networks, all these sort of problems. But what the Monetha team have actually said on their FAQs page, they've said that they're blockchain agnostic, which means they don't necessarily have to work with just Ethereum. They could work on any smart contracts platform. So they just want it to work. I think it's they want to be a crypto payments company. And it's an interesting idea, but there are downsides. I mean, it's not super easy to purchase Monetha tokens at the moment. But you can check out their website at monetha.io, and that'll be in the show notes. There are a couple others that I was watching as well. I've got a short list. I'll post those in the show links as well. EOS, IOTA, Swarm City, District 0x, Zcoin, Basic Attention Token, Civic, Quantum Resistant Ledger, Stellar Lumens, and there were some runners up as well. So I'll put those in the show links so you can have a look at the way that I'm going to lose most of my money.
Cool. Well, hang on, mate. The phone's ringing. Give me a second.
Incoming call from.
Hello?
Do you wish to accept this reverse charge call?
Yes, all right.
Patching you in now.
Met, are you there? Met.
Yes, Jordan, I'm here.
Thank goodness.
What's going on, Jordan? Why are you reverse calling me?
Well, Matt, I'm in the socialist paradise of Venezuela. I made a bit of a blunder, Matt, and I've been given temporary accommodation in the Caracas penitentiary.
You're in jail.
Well, not to put too fine a point on it, Matt, but there is one way you could explain it, yes.
How'd you wind up in jail, Jordan?
Well, Matt, after seeing what crypto could do for Zimbabwe, I thought, what other basket case country could really use a crypto coin? So I realised Venezuela could actually do with one as well.
Oh, right, so you made touch with the Dash guys who are already working on that over there, did you?
Dash guys? No, Matt, I went straight to the Venezuelan government themselves. I still had a few connections from my time in the Russian Socialist Commune before the USSR collapsed. Yes.
Right. And how did they receive the idea of a crypto dollar?
Well, they received it very, very well, actually, Matt. I explained to them that it would solve all of their problems, of course, and gave them my personal guarantee that if it didn't work, they could punish me however they saw fit.
Okay, so I'm assuming there were issues then, Jordan?
Well, Matt, none of them were my fault at all. First, the Venezuelan government said they wanted to keep a huge pre-mine for themselves. They've seen what a lot of ICOs and coins have been doing for these founders, and they figured they could get a piece of that action, huh?
Well, that doesn't sound very socialistic, Jordan.
Well, Matt, there's not actually much socialistic about this country. But I don't mean that. It is an incredible country. Everyone is equal. They're listening, Matt. They are listening to us.
Okay, noted, Jordan. So what happened after they asked for the pre-mine?
Well, Matt, I got them in touch with our Somalian friends who were so graciously taking care of Zimbabwe coin.
These are the same Somalian friends who Mugabe's still waiting for his inheritance money from?
Yes, the very same, mate.
Right, okay. So what happened then, Jordan?
Well, everything was going fine. Venezuela paid them for the initial payment in Bitcoin, of course, and they were expecting delivery of the coins by the end of last week. But they stopped communicating with the government. It seems they may have run off with the money, huh?
Run off?
Well, yes, they took the Bitcoin payment, and then we haven't heard from them since. I could only say that they were working hard behind the scenes for so long before, one thing leads to another, huh?
Right, okay, so they've run off with the money. I bet the Venezuelan government wasn't impressed, were they, Jordan?
Oh, no, they weren't, Matt. But I figured I could fix it, so I told the Venezuelans not to worry, I'll fix it, right? But after a bit of Googling, I made my own Waves token. It was incredible, Matt. You would not believe how easy it is to make currency out of nothing. I should have been doing this years ago, huh?
Well, I don't know about that, Jordan. So you made a working product then?
Well, mate. The problem is no one actually bought it.
Oh, so no one wanted a state-issued Waves token made by a South African journalist with no technical expertise?
Well, surprisingly not, actually. It turns out that if you ask everyone to rely on a state, but you don't give them the technology or education to interact with the blockchain, no one can actually exchange their currency. Our son did show up, but they seem to think it was some sort of new form of cash.
Okay, so it didn't take off then.
Well, at this stage, Matt, the Venezuelan government is currently holding 99% of the currency.
And that's why you're in prison.
Precisely.
Okay, Jordan, how long until you get out of prison? We've got a whole bunch of other places you're meant to be going and reporting for us.
Oh, well, I'm not sure, Matt. Apparently, the South African embassy is currently in talks with the Venezuelan government to get me out. This is my only phone call, in fact.
Wait, you used your only phone call to call us?
Yes, Matt. I figure you could actually let all my subscribers know that they won't be getting any hot investment advice for a little while.
Oh, I'm sure they'll be very upset about that, Jordan.
Oh, it can't be helped, Matt. You know, these things just happen.
Right, okay. Is there anything you want us to tell your family?
Oh, actually, yes, Matt. I have quite a lot of Zimbabwe coins saved up from Mugabe. It's all on my computer at home. If you just tell my wife that my private key for my Zimbabwe's coin wallet is Mandela Resource 101. Yeah, if you could do that, that would be great. Hold on. All right, Matt. I've actually got to go. Safe travels, huh?
You too, Jordan.
So if you're totally new to the blockchain cryptocurrency space, every few episodes we want to go through some crypto basics, just covering some of the groundwork and how these systems work. So if you are an old hand at cryptocurrency, you might want to skip this section, and you can see the links and the timestamps.
Yeah, so we put timestamps in the show notes, so you can actually just open it up in whatever podcast player you're using and just have a look down, and you'll see when this section starts and when it finishes, and you can just jump ahead. So you don't have to sit through it. It may still be useful. We find that doing this ourselves, it actually helps us explain crypto to people that aren't really tech savvy. So you may still find it useful listening, if not for yourself, then for some of your friends. But yeah, if you are new and it's your first time listening, we just recommend that you go back through the first couple of blockchain basic segments. They're in episode 2 and 4, and we're also going to have a section on the website soon as well for all of this stuff. It's all going to be in one place. It'll be a little bit more detailed. There'll be images and videos, and yeah.
So for those of you just getting started, the biggest question once you know what things do is how do you get your hands on some crypto? So by far the easiest way to get in is to buy Bitcoin. Most other currencies are actually measured against Bitcoin, and it's the easiest to get a hold of. So once you have this Bitcoin, you can get other currencies.
Yeah, so the question then is, how do you get the Bitcoin? By far the easiest way for people to get Bitcoin, if you're just getting in, is to get it through a place called Coinbase.
So Coinbase is like a digital asset exchange, and it lets you convert your regular money from pay via debit card or via bank account if you're in the United States, and you can buy Bitcoin and Litecoin and Ethereum on the Coinbase platform.
Yeah, so they do add a transaction fee on top of that, but it's really simple. It's a really easy to use site, and it's reliable as well. So we normally recommend Coinbase just because it's the easiest. There are other services out there, but we'd recommend doing your research and really having a bit of a look around to see if there is a service that would fit you better.
So one of our listeners, Mike, actually gave a suggestion to anyone who's in Australia. There's one called brightonpeak.com. We haven't tried it yet, but there are different digital asset exchanges which charge different fees. But yeah, as Matt said, Coinbase is definitely the easiest one to get into it with. So you can find the link in the show notes for that.
There is also the option of using local Bitcoins, which is actually a system that lets you physically pay someone with cash and they transfer you the Bitcoin there in person. We'll link that in the show notes. It's a good option if you don't want your crypto buy-in being tracked, but obviously you really need to do your due diligence and you need to be careful with that because at the end of the day, you're just trusting that this person is giving you what they say they're giving you. Whereas with Coinbase or any of the other services, you're contracting with a company.
And once you buy your Bitcoin, it's going to be held in your wallet with Coinbase. But it's important to note that this wallet is one that's held by Coinbase and not by you.
Yeah, so there's essentially three options. Once you buy your Bitcoin in Coinbase and it's put into the wallet, you can keep it in Coinbase, you can transfer it to your own wallet, or you can transfer it to an exchange. Now, keeping it in Coinbase is an easy option, but it's not really the most secure option. Transferring it to an exchange we'll go through a little later in the piece, but for now we'll talk about the third option, which is to transfer it to your own wallet.
So a wallet is where you can hold and manage your crypto. The idea of a wallet has been around since Bitcoin. If you've been in crypto any length of times, you've probably heard of it. But what is a wallet?
Yeah, so a wallet is essentially a program that manages all of your public and private keys and the currency associated with them. So it's how you can interact with your little corner of the blockchain. Without a wallet, you wouldn't be able to generate your own public and private keys, which you'll remember from our previous blockchain basics. That's essentially your username and your password.
So, for example, if you buy Bitcoin, there are a number of wallets. So you can install them on your device, your laptop, or your mobile phone. And when you boot it up, it will ask you to set a password. Now, we'd always recommend that you set as long a password as possible. There's a good technique is just to put a bunch of, write a sentence with, punctuation, apostrophes, and spaces between the words. It's a bit longer, but you can remember it. And if you try and make it obscure and not to be or not to be, that is the question. If you make it something random like horse jumping on goat straw, that might be a bit more secure than to be or not to be.
The big point with your public and private key, and we harp on about it a lot, is don't share your private key with anyone. That private key needs to stay with you and you alone. Don't do what Jordan Cronje did and give out his private key to someone else. The reason for that is because anyone that has your private key can access your currency on the blockchain. So once you've set your private key, your wallet will then generate your public key, which is the username that you can send Bitcoin to. And
other people call the public key an address.
That's right.
So it's the address that they can send the transaction to, like your bank account number and sort code, that sort of thing.
Exactly. Yeah, so if you want to send Bitcoin to your account, you go into Coinbase, and then Coinbase has a section where you can send your Bitcoin somewhere else. So you would put in your public key address and then hit send. Once you've put in the amount you want to send, your Bitcoin transaction would then be sent to the blockchain. And if you remember from a previous episode, you just then have to wait for that block to be ready for adding to the blockchain. And then a miner will add that to the blockchain, and your Bitcoin will then go from your Coinbase address to your other address, your other account.
So transactions can take often up to half an hour with Bitcoin. If you buy, for example, Litecoin on Coinbase, you can receive when you transfer, the transfer speed will be much quicker.
And essentially, once that's done, if you're running a wallet, you will see the money, the Bitcoin or whatever it is, come into your wallet and appear there right in front of your eyes, just like it is expected to.
So the key points from so far is step 1, you set up a Coinbase account. You can find the link in the show notes. Step 2 is you buy your your Bitcoin with your debit card once you've verified your ID with Coinbase. And then step 3 is you get create a wallet on your PC or on your mobile phone, and you grab your public key.
You go back to Coinbase. You put in your public key, which is your account number essentially, into Coinbase and say, I want to send the Bitcoin there. Hit send. Eventually, the Bitcoin will be sent from Coinbase to your wallet. Now, the big thing with these wallets is there are several types of wallets, and not all wallets are created equal. So first, we've got what's called a software wallet. What's a software wallet, Joe?
So it's a program on a device of your choice, and you install it, and you can interact with it on your computer or laptop, mobile phone. And you need to keep it updated, and you need to keep it secure. So some of them are internet-based. So, for example, Ethereum has My Ether wallet, which lets you do everything in a browser. And some of them are more software-based, like If you were to get the official Litecoin wallet or any of these other currencies, they'll often have a wallet for those specific currencies. You've also got some other software wallets, like on your phones. You can get wallets such as Coinomi, which is available on Android, or you can get wallets like Jaxx, Jaxx, on iOS. So you can hold multiple cryptocurrencies in one wallet. What's that called? Is that called a multi-sig wallet?
Multi-sig wallet. Yeah. So that's essentially, it's still a software wallet, but they've built software into that wallet that can hold more than one cryptocurrency. That's all it is.
Right.
There's some issues with them because you're essentially built using a catch-all device, and you have to trust that that device is going to stay updated. Some of the features that you could use with a dedicated wallet might not be available for a multi-sig wallet, but it is convenient. And we'll go into some of the security elements later on, just so you can manage your different wallets and manage the risks with them.
So then we've got hardware wallets. So they're separate devices, and tell us a bit more about them.
Yeah, so a hardware wallet is essentially, it's a separate device. It's usually shaped like a USB or a Wi-Fi modem or something small, and you can plug it into your device. And what that allows you to do is you can load your public and private keys onto that device, and it stores your keys inside that device's memory. Now, the keys with this is it stays offline. So once you've loaded your keys into it, which hold your currency, you can then take it out, and no one can hack it when it's not plugged in. It's not connected to any network. You can put it on a chain around your neck. You can put it in your wallet, physical wallet, wherever you want to put it. But you only plug it in to do the transactions themselves. Now, there's a couple of popular options for this. There's what's called a ledger. Ledger Nano is one of the ones you hear about a lot. Or there's a Trezor. We'll link them in the show notes. We'll put links to them. But they're essentially USB-like devices you can plug straight into your computer, load your crypto on. I believe they handle around about 8 or 9 currencies each. So they don't have a lot of the smaller ones, but the big ones they handle. But essentially, you just need to picture it kind of like a debit card and a security fob from your bank all rolled into one. So it lets you kind of manage both of those things at once, and it takes away the risk by being able to keep it offline.
So we've got software wallets, we've got hardware wallets, and then we've got paper wallets. Run us through those. What are those? What are paper wallets?
Yeah, so a paper wallet is basically just what it sounds like. It's storing your keys on physical paper, completely offline. Now, what it's not talking about, although you could do this, is just writing out your whole private key and your public key and putting that away. You could do that, but there are actually sites that let you print out a bit of a printout that has your public key, your private key, and a scannable
QR
code, and a few other bits and pieces, just to make it as easy as possible for you to access that wallet from wherever you want to access it from. And they will actually, you will just say, I want to create a new Bitcoin wallet address. And then they will say, okay, take this offline now, create the Bitcoin or crypto address offline, and then print it out, close all the pages, clear your cache, connect it back up to the internet, and you're done. And so they take away that element of risk where something has been exposed.
So if I had a paper wallet, so I'd printed out a paper wallet which has a public key and a private key. Now I'd taken that public key and I'd sent some money from Coinbase to my paper wallet, to that address on my paper wallet at least. So how would I send things from my paper wallet elsewhere? How would I manage that?
Yeah, so you would still have to get some kind of interface. Okay, so you would still need some form of wallet to be able to send something anyway. So this is more just for storing.
Right.
So it's more
like a backup sort of thing.
It's kind of like a backup, but it can just be used for storage itself. You know, you could say, I want to hold this Bitcoin and put it away for 5 years, and you generate a paper wallet completely offline. That is still an address on the network because it's. There's wizardry that goes on behind the scenes. It means that the system recognizes the address, even if it's been generated offline. And then you could come back in 5 years, open up a wallet, and put in your public and private key into that wallet, and then be able to access your crypto.
Right. So, are there any recommended programs for generating wallets?
Yeah, so there's a site called walletgenerator.net. We'll put the link in the show notes. It's really easy to print out a really nice looking paper wallet that you can actually print out. It gives you fold lines. It gives you all sorts of bits and bobs.
Some of these paper wallets I've seen, and they do look really flash.
Yeah, I mean
they do look like what they're worth.
They do, and the downside is they're a little bit unwieldy, and at the end of the day, they're paper. So if you lose it, you've lost it. So you really need to make sure that it's backed up, and that's why you see a lot of people actually holding their Bitcoin in hardware wallets in like bunkers and things, because they believe that's the best way to store them.
So which is best? What's the best option for wallets? So we got software, hardware, or paper.
Yeah, so look, if you're just beginning, we'd probably recommend a software wallet or a hardware wallet. Software is good if you've only got a small amount of crypto or if you're entirely sure that your computer is secure. Hardware is better if you're not confident about your system security or you want to be able to carry your keys around with you to keep them safe. So I'd recommend hardware and software. Paper, I think you wouldn't want to look at going to a paper wallet unless you're a bit more familiar with how everything works and you have some really solid storage procedures in place. But a software and a hardware wallet will serve you pretty well. Software is probably better when you're just starting out, especially if you've only got a low amount of crypto that you're going to be putting into it. But a hardware gives you a bit more surety that you can actually carry those keys around with you and you're not worried about someone hacking into your computer.
If you don't hold your private keys, you don't own your money. So we've said it before, we'll say it again, with Bitcoin, with cryptocurrency, you are your own bank. You lose your private keys, you've lost your money. And if you don't hold your private keys, you don't hold your money. So when you're storing it with a very happy intermediary like Coinbase, they are insured up to, I think, $250,000 for each person, which is great. It's more like a bank in that sense. But still, as long as you don't have the private key for your wallet, you don't own it.
That's right. So there's a few common questions that come out of all this wallet talk. The first one is, does the wallet take my currency off the blockchain? What do you say?
And the answer to that is no. As long as you have your private keys and your public keys, you can always get at your crypto. A wallet is just a manager for your keys. It interacts with the blockchain, so you don't have to do it directly, which is quite complex. And it's easier if you back up your wallet.
Right, and why should people be backing up their wallets, Joe?
Well, the blockchains get updated regularly. So a wallet that isn't updated to the latest version of the blockchain runs the risk of orphaning your currency off an old chain. So it's especially a risk with proof of stake currencies such as PivX, Blackcoin, Lisk, which give you rewards for keeping your wallet open to the chain. And yeah, if you haven't updated, you're running on the wrong sort of mechanism that everyone else is. And while you can recover your currency eventually, it can be a lot of hassle. So what we recommend, I think we mentioned this last episode as well, if you purchase a cryptocurrency, subscribe to email updates, get their newsletter, so that will make sure that you get updated when you need to update your wallet, because when you're in charge, you've got to keep your wallets updated.
That's right.
Sign up to newsletters. As much spamminess as that seems like, you got to do it. So how would I keep my money secure? Yeah,
so keeping your money secure, I mean, our general tips would be try to avoid mobile wallets where possible, and we get they're convenient. And if you want that convenience, that's great. But at the end of the day, your mobile devices are quite unsecure in a lot of ways.
I'm not worried.
We would say install a fresh operating system if it's possible on any device that you're putting it in on.
Just back on you just said try to avoid mobile wallets where possible. Imagine it's just like your regular bank account and your regular wallet. Imagine your mobile wallet is the same as your physical wallet in the real world. So you don't take around every single cent that you have in your bank account in your pocket. Just take around your carrying change in your mobile wallet. Keep your real stuff elsewhere.
That's right. Yep. So the next thing is you want to install a fresh operating system if possible on whatever device you're putting this on. I understand that might not be possible for a lot of people. So if that's the case, You want to have a firewall, have antivirus, have malware protection, and run them regularly, and run everything before you put your crypto on your computer. Uninstall whatever programs you don't need. Just do a good cleanup before you start putting money on your computer, because this space is full of hackers.
It's worth installing if you need a good antivirus and you don't have one. There's some free ones. Bitdefender is a very big name. Sophos, I believe that they have a free version. And Kaspersky is a well-reputed brand until more recently. But Kaspersky also have a good free product.
And Malwarebytes for your malware protection. We'll link them in the show notes. Use a VPN. We use... There's a couple that we can recommend. We'll put them in the show notes as well. A virtual private network, which is what VPN stands for, essentially means that all your internet traffic is going through a server somewhere else. So it's just an added step in the chain, and anyone trying to get into your computer would need to follow that chain one step further. A lot of the time, that's all you need to do is just make it a bit harder.
Make it a little bit harder. So it's like creating a tunnel between here and Switzerland, and then for all intents and purposes you're browsing from Switzerland. Very useful.
Store your private keys either written down or in an encrypted password manager like LastPass or KeePass XC. We will link them as well in the show notes, but you don't want to be storing them in like a Chrome password manager or in a Word document somewhere on your computer. You really want to have them somewhere that's either encrypted or completely offline. If you are storing them offline, please put them in more than one place, because you never know when you're going to lose something, and there's horror stories of people losing their entire Bitcoin wallet.
Yeah, because there was that guy who left, 50,000 Bitcoins in a PC in like a dump in Wales. I'm sure everyone read that story, but you just don't want to do it.
No. And yeah, look, consider a hardware wallet like Ledger or Trezor. Like we've said, they will help to keep your money secure as well.
So, are there any good mobile wallets?
Yeah, like you said before, mate, there's Jax and Coinomi, which are the two bigger names. Like we've said, they both have their drawbacks. You want to try and keep your crypto off mobile as much as you can. Like you said, just keep it as you change money. I like having a bit on my mobile just so I can say to someone, if they're interested, hey, look, install the PivX app, which is what I normally use. I'll send you one. And you can literally get them to install it in a minute, show them how easy it is and how quick it is.
Getting their first cryptocurrency.
Yeah, and it's something practical.
Sometimes you've just got to see money appearing in your wallet from someone's wallet next to you, and it's gone through no one but the interwebs. And that is fantastic.
Yep.
So exciting. And sometimes you just need that to suddenly for everything to click and be like, that's what cryptocurrency is.
That's right.
So with mobile wallets, they've all got their drawbacks, and as you said, keeping them off mobile as much as possible. But while they're good for holding your currency, how do you get? Let's say I'm holding some Bitcoins. How do I get some other cryptocurrencies? Assuming I have Bitcoin, how do I buy a different cryptocurrency?
Yeah, so you've really got two options when you're trying to get something else other than the big three, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin, which seems to be what most fiat to crypto exchanges will offer you. You can either use automated exchanging, or you can use a real fully fledged exchange, okay? So the first option is automated exchanging, and it's really the easiest way to change your Bitcoin into something else. And there's services out there like a service called Changely. Now, you've used Changely recently, Joe. How did you find it?
Changely is the easiest way to exchange from one cryptocurrency to another. I mean, you can mess around with the exchanges and you can mess around with all these things, but the interface on Changely.com, it just goes, what do you have and what do you want? And you just put, I have one Litecoin and you can just select from a list of 30 different cryptos, and it goes, great. Okay, so if you put in this one Litecoin, you're going to get X number of thingamajigs. You click next. Then you go, okay, which address do you want to send this wallet to? Then you put your wallet address in. That's where I want this to go from. And it goes, great. Just send your one Litecoin to this address, and we will send, as soon as we've received that, we're going to send that to your new one. So you just select what you want. It's so easy. So Changely, that's why I think it's amazing. So it's near instant. You can watch the process as it happens. So after you've sent your Litecoin to Changely, you can watch their webpage refresh in real time to say, okay, we've received that, now we're exchanging. Then they exchange that for you, and then they get that sent to your other wallet. So it's really like if you're new to this whole thing, Changely just makes it so easy.
Yeah, so it's a really basic process, which is really good, but there's obviously a trade-off when you're using something automated like that, because you're exchanging at the rate that they determine and not the rate that the market is at on a bigger exchanges. There's better deals to be had and more coins available on a real exchange. However, the learning curve for these is a little higher. So what are these real exchanges? Well, just like it sounds, it's somewhere that you can exchange one currency for another with a whole bunch of other users.
So with an exchange has a number of managed wallets for you. So let's say the exchange has 100 different cryptocurrencies for sale. You have 100 different managed wallets. Is that correct?
Correct.
So you'd have 100 different managed wallets which are held by this exchange. And you can basically, you would usually send Bitcoin to your exchange wallet address. Then from there, you can exchange to these other cryptocurrencies. You can buy and sell crypto from other people, and the exchange takes a moderate fee for the privilege.
Yeah, so the most popular and varied exchange these days is an exchange called Bittrex. It's got all the large, medium, and some small cryptocurrencies as well. The most trusted smaller cap exchange, at least in my opinion, is Cryptopia. It runs like Bittrex, but it specialises in the smaller market cap coins. But look, there's a number of others. There's Kraken, Bitfinex, Liqui, Coin Exchange, and 1,000 others. There's a newer one called Binance, and it seems to be gaining a lot of popularity as well. And you'll normally see on CoinMarketCap or whatever you use to do your initial research in a coin, which coin is listed on which exchanges. So how do you use an exchange, Joe?
So firstly, you'll need to sign up. Now, usually to transact over a certain amount, the threshold, you'll need to verify your identity. So you can't usually buy in with your traditional currency, US dollar, Australian dollar, British pound, on an exchange, which means you'll need to buy your Bitcoin elsewhere. So, for example, like Coinbase, and then you send it to your managed wallet on the exchange. So Bitcoin is like the default currency that these exchanges all use and speak to each other between.
Exactly. It's like the standard that everything's measured against.
But when you first sign into one of these exchanges, it can be a little scary. It's a little intimidating. So give us an example of how this would work.
Yeah. So we'll use Bittrex as our example here because it's likely that that's the one you'll be going to first because it just has so much on it. When you get into this exchange and you've created your account and you've been verified, you'll load in and you'll be greeted with this huge list of markets and top coins on the front page. Ignore these. What you first want to do is you want to find your wallets page, and that's in Bittrex, that's up to the top right, and you want to look for a way to send your Bitcoin into the managed wallet. Once you get onto that wallet page, you'll see a whole bunch of coins with a plus and a minus, and Bitcoin will normally be at the top. Plus means send in, minus means take out. So once you've hit plus and you've said, I want to receive Bitcoin, and you've got your address, and then you've gone to Coinbase and you've said, please send this amount of Bitcoin to this address, it'll eventually come in and you'll see it in there in your account. After you've got that in there, you'll then want to search for the coin you want. So let's say you want to look for FOMO coin. You'll go up into the top left-hand corner, click on markets and type in FOMO coin and it'll pop up. Once you click on that, it's going to pull up a new window that shows the current price in Bitcoin and a number of other metrics. And this is where all the action happens, and it's called the trading screen.
So you'll become quite familiar with this screen, and some of the things you'll see are the graphical timeline of recent buying and selling. You'll see the last price, the volume, the amount of the volume of the transactions that are taking place, the current bids and asks, and the sort of the number of different bids for each, and the 24-hour highs and lows.
The key part is the buy and sell order section and the order book section below it. This is where you're going to be able to put in orders to buy and sell at whatever price you ask. Now, be careful here because it's all denominated in Bitcoin. So what I'd recommend is on a separate screen or off to the side, you open up another window or tab so you can actually convert your Bitcoin into your local currency just so you know what you're putting in and how much that equates to. Because sometimes you can get a little bit caught up with the decimal places and you're not actually sure that you've got it right. So you always want to check that. Especially as Bitcoin gets more and more value, the decimal places are going to become more and more important. Now, you'll see below the buy and the sell, the bids and asks sections in the order book. That's what you really want to look at. If you're looking to sell your Bitcoin for another crypto, the bid section will tell you how much other people are looking to buy that crypto for, and the asks will tell you how much people are willing to sell it for.
So how should I put in my buy and sell orders?
Yeah, so look, if you want to sell quick, your best bet is to put in a buy order slightly above the bids, but slightly lower than the ask, so kind of in the middle. If you want to get it cheaper, you can bid less and wait. However, you've got to remember that these are orders you're putting in. So all you're saying is, I want to sell it this much, or I want to buy it this much. Will someone do that for me? So someone has to physically agree to fill your order. I've gotten in trouble before where I've put my buy order too low, and then the market's just shifted, and it's never gotten back, especially if Bitcoin's price is lifting because you're putting the price in Bitcoin. And I've been left, and I could have just spent a tiny little bit more and bought it at that price instead of trying to get it a fair bit lower.
And it's much the same as when you're dealing with regular stocks and shares. You know, it's a very, very similar system to that. So, yeah, someone's got to agree to fill your order. And, you know, sometimes the exchange... Well, with crypto, can exchanges cancel your orders after a certain while if it's just unreasonable? Because that's what happens with me in the actual stock exchange.
Yeah, so you can set it to cancel at a certain time, but Bittrex defaults to this thing called good until cancel, which means that your order will just stay there for as long as it stays there. Now, that may not be a bad thing, especially if Bitcoin price is moving up. Sometimes I've come back and been like, oh, I'm glad I didn't buy that when I did because my Bitcoin's gone up 5% and the thing I was trying to buy went down 5%. So it's not the worst thing in the world sometimes, but that money's tied up and it's not doing anything. So look, when you're looking at these buy and sell orders and the market volume, it's a good thing to look at the graph. Bittrex has a graph there, and most of the other exchanges have a graph as well. You can zoom in and out on that graph and see where things have been. It gives you a bit more perspective, but it's really important when you're doing this to remember never to get the fear of missing out.
So as you start using this more, tracking prices and reading news, and there are going to come times when the price is surging and everything is telling you you've got to buy. And this is rarely, if ever, the case because markets go up and down. I mean, rash money is quickly wasted, and I've definitely done this before, just throwing in orders because it looks like it's going up. But you've got to keep in mind that you're in an environment that people have spent years in, and you can't hope to outthink them in the first few weeks. And as we said earlier, if you can't spot the sucker in the room, it's you.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, what you find that happens is the people that have been in this the longest are usually the people making a lot of money from the new people. They know that every day people are getting excited about crypto and they're coming into the market. So a lot of these older hands try and inflate the market to make people think it's going to go up, and then they sell at the top and the market deflates, and the people that have bought in are left buying in at a higher price and the market shifted without them. The true key to using exchanges, if this isn't your day job, is to pick an amount you're willing to invest per week and then put that in every week. What you want to do is watch the price. If you see an opportunity, then buy in. But if the price doesn't drop, simply keep to that day and say, I'm going to buy in on that day unless I see a really good opportunity.
Yeah, and if the price is soaring, we suggest, give it a couple of days for things to settle down. Because slow, steady investment almost always wins. Matt, so I have a question for you. What's some good best practices if I'm looking to make an investment in cryptocurrency?
Yeah, so look, the first thing I would definitely say is research the projects that you want to invest in. We're big believers in investing in what you believe will be great, and I think the best way to do that is to research it, to see what teams are doing, who has a working project. Another big thing is don't buy into the hype, don't get FOMO. If this is like the dot-com bubble, a lot of projects aren't going to survive, especially a lot of the ones that have been hyped, because normally what that means is they've got a better marketing team than they do a technical team.
Yeah.
And normally it's the guys that really want to make money that hire the really hotshot marketing team, aka Tezos. You want to find currencies with use cases and a point of difference. So you want to find something that is quite unique and is going to stick around when all the copycats fail. When you're in Bittrex or whatever exchange you use, zoom out on the graphs and see what the price has done over the time. One of the best things you can do is read and listen to the experts in the space. There's a lot of material out there from a lot of experienced people, but at the same time, be careful of the people that say they're experts who are really just trying to sell or shill a particular investment because usually they're just trying to make more money for themselves. Now, we will do more on exchanges in the future, but if you want more help in the interim, please just join us on Slack. We're more than willing to help. If you just come in there and you've got some questions, jump in.
Yeah. So to summarize, getting into cryptocurrency, step 1, set up a wallet on your phone or your desktop with
whatever software corresponds to the coin.
Yeah. Step 2, buy on Coinbase with your debit card after verifying your identification. Step 3, use Changely or a more complicated exchange to exchange your Bitcoin for whichever currency you want. And step 4, send that from that Changely or your exchange to your wallet.
Correct.
Then it's yours.
And where possible, it's tempting to keep your stuff in the exchanges, but where possible, it's better to get it out of there because you just never know what's going to happen.
Spot the dog on.
That's right. So, look, all this will be up soon on our website. You can get to Coinbase, Changely, etc. from there if you want once we've put it up. We'll also put the links in our show notes. So if you do use any of those links to sign up, you will be able to support the show. We get a little bit of money and you get a little bit of money as well if you click on the links.
Oh, I'm literally so excited about these guides we're going to get on our website. We have been developing these guides, which we have been talking about for weeks. And we're just going to have a really useful place for you to send your mates to if they're new to cryptocurrency, don't know how to buy it, don't know how to get it, don't know how it works, don't know nothing. Send them to that page. It's going to be amazing. So look forward to that in about a couple weeks from now. They're going to be ready and they're going to be good and they're going to be simple and useful. FOMO.show. Check us out.
So that's about it from us today, mate. Another episode in the books. While we were recording this, there was actually a thunderstorm going on.
Yeah.
And so if you do hear any thunder in the background, that's because
it's not you, it's
been
us.
Storming. That's right.
You can find us at FOMO.show. And you can also jump on our Slack, our web instant messaging service at FOMOshow.slack.com.
You can follow us on Twitter at @the_FOMO_show and at Facebook at facebook.com/The FOMO Show.
That's it for us here at The FOMO Show. Thank you so much for joining us.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Gio.
And as always, remember,
no FOMO. So the question was, somebody said, how did Jordan initially get past over the Venezuelan border? I thought the Bolivians were on his case, but no, it wasn't. All you need is a case of beer, bit of toilet paper, end of the world sort of economy. Wheelbarrow, a whole wheelbarrow full of them.
Bright-eyed and, wide-eyed and red-faced, and they want to buy their first crypto.
Wide-eyed and red-faced, that's the phrase, yeah.
What is it?
Isn't it bushy-tailed or something?
That's bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, which is different. That means you're like... Yeah, so they essentially...
That's it for his firm. Help me.
So how can I make wise decisions then when I'm investing in crypto, Joe?
Wow, that's a good question. Very glad you've asked. This is the FOMO Show.
Do you want me to say this?
So, how can I make some good investment decisions? Mr. Madoff, please tell the court. I just buy stupid coins, man. I haven't even researched one. I just bought it. I was like, I'm buying it. Like, what is it? Don't care. I'm buying it. Stupid. Stupid. I must be the type of guy who just goes to a shop and just buys I don't know, French baguettes. He's not even hungry. You're a wizard, Harry. I'm a what?
A wizard.
And a thumping good one at that. Old backed currency.
If everyone gets cryptocurrencies, our gold will be worth nothing.
Back in my day, you used to be able to go down to the shop and exchange your gold bullion for a Mars bar and a packet of chips.
A bucket of chips.
A package. So another piece that was quite interesting this week was all right, settle down, Matt, settle down. A packet of Pringles, 2 bitcoins, 2 bitcoins for a packet of Pringles, ridiculous. And now you understand why this is the world's smallest cryptocurrency podcast.